Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Arn here once more again, and today I have for you, finally getting around to reviewing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure deck, Albaz Strike, or commonly known as the branded structure deck. This right here is a actually pretty good structure deck in my opinion. What's it called? This came out back in 2020. This right here is the branded structure deck, basically a archetype or engine that combines multiple archetypes like Albaz, Spriggans, Tri-Brigade, Dogmatic, Sword Soul, Despia, and Bistro. Well, comedy most of those cards. Though in this one we only have the 5, which you can see right here on the top 4, Tri-Brigade, Dogmatic, Spriggan, Sword Soul for some of their cards who are splashable in this deck right here, structure deck, along with Albaz, who is the main component of this structure deck. And one of the things I do love about structure decks, and well, entirely versus buying like regular packs, random packs, and whatnot, is that you know what you're getting with these cards. And this right here is one of the structure decks I usually recommend for those people who are coming back to the game after so many years, or if you're starting the game itself and basically a newbie, don't know where to do and where to get. Usually I recommend the Albaz structure deck. This is a pretty easy structure deck to do, and the cards are pretty nice. Branded is one of those pretty good archetypes that you can basically play around no problem at all. And this is a structure deck you actually could take out of the box, go to a locals or to a store and play, and you should do fairly well. Get a little bit of story right there for the Albaz story right here, which I'm hoping later down in the years, Konami eventually does make the anime like they showed us like a while ago, last year. You get a good insight of the cards that you get right there as well, along with the playmat, which is actually pretty nice. I did buy a couple of these structure packs, and I do have that playmat on my wall because let me tell you, one thing I do for a lot of these structure decks is I tend to collect them mainly for the fact of the matter that I can use their playmats as like wall decorations, which they look pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the other thing too about these structure decks, you also get to know what cards you're gonna get in them. There's no mystery at all. You get what you get in the cards, and should be no problems at all. Which is one thing too for a lot of people who are trying to find cards they want. Usually these structure decks are always good with cards that they need for other decks they want to build. Overall, that's pretty great. Now, with that out of the way, folks, let's go with the unboxing of the structure deck. And we're back, folks. Now it's time to do the unboxing for the structure deck. I will say I've had this for like a long time, so the structure deck should be easy to open. Usually, for anyone to open these, usually top of the box, you should be able to open them like that. Usually, it's always stuck on us, kind of like this sticky thing, kind of like was when you have mail stuff. You should be able to pop it open, no problem at all. It's fine if you break that. Usually, these are structure decks, no problem at all. I would have a knife to do this, but like I mentioned before, I think in one of my previous videos, I have effectively lost my pocket knives again, and I have no clue where they're at, and I'm kind of sad about that. I forgot what I was using them for a long time ago, or I forget what I was using them, because I remember I went out and I had them with me. Now I lost them, and I'm kind of sad about that. The fact that I might have to buy new ones is going to make me sad, but that's fine. And look, empty box right there. Put that to the side. We have the playmat right here, which I'll show in a second, and we have the deck themselves, perfectly safe and sound, and a little plastic right here, which is always great to have about these decks. Sometimes a lot of these decks tend to like to curve it. So one thing about well, not just Yu-Gi-Oh cards, almost cards in general, they like to curve after being unsealed in cards, so which is also why I like to keep cards in what's called card sleeves, which is always good. Actually, right here, the first card here is Tri-Brigade Mercune, or Mercurier. Pretty good card for this for the branded structure deck, which is always pretty good. But before we go through all the cards, so see right here, we'll go with the playmat, which is actually one of my favorites because you have both Mirror Jade and Lobillion, basically one side to side showing off, and you can see right there. Ooh. Technically, I do have one of these playmats on my wall, and why wouldn't you? Like, look at this. This is beautiful artwork right here. And this is technically the card artwork for this, but it is beautiful as hell right there. You can see right there. It's in the back set right there. Now, granted, these playmats are going to be not solid, but you can see right there a little bit how they should look like. Right there, you can see right there, and they look so good. Now, imagine this on your wall. You will love this right here. You have two badass dragons, one ice, one fire, looking pretty good. We're going to keep that right there, but now let's go with the structure deck itself. Which, like I said before, this is actually probably one of the better structure decks, because you basically just play this out of the box right here. Actually, you could take it out and go to any tournament or local store or duel your friends, And you should be able to do fairly well with this. Now, if I remember how to open these. You know what's the worst thing about not knowing where... Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to make do. I'm going to have to use my X-Acto knife, but I really don't like this one because this one's the one that's broken tip of the blade. So I want to make sure I don't break the cards. Because the other X-Acto knife that I use for my model kits is on my other desk right now, where my computer's at, and well, it's over there, and I don't feel like reaching for it right now, so we're gonna have to do this right now at the moment. I know a lot of people are probably gonna be looking at me, it's like, just go get the other X-Acto knife, and it's like, yeah, I'll do it eventually. Don't worry, we got this. There we go, we opened this up. Whew. Cards are fine for those who want to know. Cards are looking good, no damage to the edge, which is always good because one thing I do love about structure decks versus buying packs is the cards are always fine. There's no edge damage or whatnot most of the time. See right there, all the cards look pretty good. No damage work, which is always great because I bought in a lot of regular packs over the years in structure decks. And for me, most of the time, the structure decks are always the better ones because the cards are always good. Now let's start off with all the cards going from front to back, and usually they go in order. So it's going to be monsters, then spells, then traps, then the extra deck, and then the tokens last. So starting off, we got Trap Gamer Cure, and we have Springin right here. And I will say the first front, 5 or 6 cards are always going to be the shiny ones, so they're always going to be super rare or ultra rare. No, super, ultra. Damn it, Golden Sword Soul, pretty good card too. And we have the fusion ones, which are the main boss monsters right here. We have Mirror Jade right here. Pretty great extra deck card for this deck. And always the ones I always used. Then we have Lobillion, the Searing Dragon, another one too. Usually you summon this one out to eventually get into Mirror Jade. Then you have the card that facilitates all this. Branded Fusion. Granted, I don't know. I forget what the status Branded Fusion is in TCG. Because I know in Master Duel, it's on 1. And I hate it. But it's fine. It's not like I need 3 Branded Fusion. Super Polymerization tends to take care of that for me most of the time. And Fallen Albaz also takes care of that too. Then we have Branded Sword Soul, or Branded Sword, not Sword Soul. Sword Soul is another archetype that technically also can work with Branded. We have Branded Retribution. And those cards, okay, how many was that? Like 10 cards were shiny? Okay, that's good. Then we have the one of the cards that facilitates all this, and the one that's basically the main character of this, Fallen Albaz. Then we have Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Pretty good card. Dogmatic Floors, Denied, which is also a pretty good card too. Was the effect for it being able to special summon itself from your hand. If you control another dogmatic monster, it also can negate the effects of one monster on the field. And it gains 500 attack when all dogmatic monsters make when one of your dogmatic monsters basically declares an attack, it can make all dogmatic monsters on the field gain 500, which I kind of fucked up on some duels when I started playing using this card or playing dogmatic because I kind of forgot about this effect. So when I was attacking, I didn't use the effect, so I didn't gain the attack bonus, but afterwards I did do this. And one of the favorite cards, though, technically is eroded from its original one, so it's able to be used again. So I'm pretty sure Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon was on the ban list for a good while until it got eroded. I will say this too. I do have 2 variations of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, shiny ones too, but also have the other one that's the alternate artwork for it, which actually looks pretty nice. I might do a video of one of my pre-built decks, or one of my main decks that I use with Darkness Metal for dragons. I think I made that one the Red Eyes one. That's the other thing too. Then we have one of the Kaijus, a pretty good card I can use. So in case your opponent has monsters, you could summon this to basically just take care of that monsters, that any troublesome monsters. There's one thing good about Kaijus is they're always useful for what's it called? If your opponent has a boss monster, you usually trip. You don't need summon a Kaiju. Granted, sometimes the Kaijus could be having powerful attack points. But most of the time you have something out them, you usually should be good. Chaos Dragon Levineer, not bad card right there. Pretty good card. Another Kaiju as well. Usually works in conjunction with the 3-headed one because you usually sacrifice one. Basically what you do with Kaiju is basically your opponent has a monster. You can usually use this, destroy that monster, and then you have the Thunder King right here. You can summon him onto your field so you can destroy him, so more attack points kind of works. Artifact Size, a card that I know a lot of people used to hate, or still hate. It's a pretty good card. Has the effects that, what's it called, Destroy. I'm trying to remember the effects for these. I tend to forget some of these card effects. Yu-Gi-Oh players, we don't tend to read our cards a lot. In fact, I'm reading this or trying to show you guys to read. That's something Yu-Gi-Oh players don't tend to do, and my buddy Dragon Academia kind of gets on me on that because I tend to attack or do dumb stuff when we fight against each other on Master Duel. And it's like, did you read your card? And I'm like, I did not. And sometimes I always have to go back and read. Yeah, White Dragon, Wyvern Buster, pretty good card for if I was also playing, what's it called? Either Light of Darkness Dragon deck, or not Black Luster Soldier, I forget what card I was thinking about. That kind of uses these cards. Black Dragon, Collapsed Serpent, Starlight Lefears, Keeper the Dragon Magic, which is a good card too, especially for, this one's actually one I do have for my Blue Eyes deck that I do have. And, hopefully soon, actually will, but I will say that when it comes to the new Blue Eyes structure deck, I will get that because I'm a fan of Blue Eyes, and having another updated cards for Blue Eyes is pretty great. Because my Blue Eyes deck, I currently have it updated to 2016 with some modifications to concurrent times, and that's pretty much it. Summoner Monk, Ghost Ogre, Snow Rabbit, which I actually do have the shiny version of this. I have actually a couple of these. What's called a good hand trap that I always use. Effect Railer, always a pretty good one as well. Granted, I don't know if they're still useful in TCG or OCG. I do know Master Duel they're still used because I'm primarily Master Duel player. Omni Dragon Borator, pretty good card too. Now we got the spell cards. We have Branded Lost. I do like the artwork for a lot of these. This right here shows Branded with Despia, which is one of the other archetypes too. Branded in White, which allows you to fusion something from your extra deck. It's one of the other cards in case you don't have Branded Fusion. Branded Bonds. Fusion Gate. Like there's one thing too, I'm pretty sure, since what's called Branded Fusion is limited to 1, you're gonna have to facilitate other cards too, so Fusion Gate's a pretty good one. Fusion Recycling, so you can bring back Polymerization, which is actually not bad. Fusion Substitute. Like I said before, this deck is basically gonna have a lot of extra fusion cards, since Branded Fusion is only a 1 of here. And I forget if in the TCG they brought back Branded Fusion to either 2 or whatnot. I need to go back and look at that. I have not looked at the ban list since the last time they did it. Golden Sarcophagus, pretty good card. Don't know if it's good or not. Pot of Extravagance, a really good card right here. For those who know, Called by the Grave, always good out in case your opponent either uses hand traps on you from the graveyard and just negate those. Dark Ruler No More, pretty good card as well. Again, I will say this. I don't know in the TCG or OCG these are still good cards. I play Master Duel, and I know they're still good in Master Duel, and I still use them as well. Scream is up the Branded, pretty good trap card. Now, granted, I do know trap cards are really not useful. They're still useful still in Yu-Gi-Oh, just not as good as people want. What's called. Then we have Necron Fusion, which is a pretty good card. Basically, you feature someone from your graveyard, but you got to send all your cards to the face down position. Back of the front, pretty good card. Warning Point, not bad at all. There can only be one. I forget if this one's the one that was people were telling me. Dimensional Barrier, which is actually a pretty good card because you can actually negate the effects of one type of extra deck card or extra type, which Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceeds, or Pendulums. Waking the Dragon, a pretty good trap card, which I do love to use and keep in all my decks, especially in Master Duel, because this right here facilitates, in case this card gets destroyed by your opponent, you can basically summon any card from your deck or extra deck, and most of the time people tend to use this to summon their boss monsters from their extra deck. Then we go with the rest of the fusion cards. We have Tykalin, the Ash Dragon, which is also one of my favorite too, because this card also gains attack points based on the cards that were used either to summon it or to send it to the graveyard. Bergrain, the Glorian Dragon, which is a pretty good card too. Spren the Ash Dragon. I really don't use this card a lot, but it's mainly towards Brigands. And then we have Albion the Branded Dragon, which I kind of like a little bit more towards, well, Labilian I like because I can send cards to the graveyard so I can use card effects. Albion is basically just free fusion, so after you summon this, you can fusion summon again, using another card that you used to fusion summon to summon Mirror Jade, which is how you facilitate. And we have the tokens, which we have Albaz Shrouded, Alicia the Exile, the Virtuous Vestus, Tri Brigade right here, which has the whole team right there, which is actually pretty nice. The Virtuous Vestals, which is based Dogmatic, and Albert Dogmatic, who is kind of like the big bad guy right here. Overall, I do love the tokens. They give you kind of like stories of everything else, kind of like here, like right here, has like, does his name refer to the past, buried in darkness, or to a bright future? Or was Alicia is like a pure white heart that's filled with many memories, with thoughts of coming days and minds, the girl's gift, a name to the boy, which was to Albaz. Tri Brigade, basically ready aim, not bad at all. The Virtuous Vestals, sometimes like a sister, sometimes like strict teacher. The bond's always there, even if they're far away. And then Albert, basically things separated from the abyss, it mocked the light and deceived the darkness. Oh, bro. That is it for the structure deck. You got the cards that you got, and overall it's pretty good. You basically, like I mentioned before, this is a structure deck. You're basically just out of the box. You can use no problem at all. I will be putting these in sleeves later down the line, so I'm just going to keep them safe. But we're not done yet, because I just remembered the back of these, of the playmats actually gives you how you're supposed to play. That should do it. Let's move the camera a bit so you can see a little bit better. Starting off here, you got the structure deck right here, how you're supposed to play, all the card list, how to use them. This right here is the how you're supposed to use the fusion summoning for it. For the branded spell and trap cards, basically everything facilitates to fusion summoning all your fusion monsters, and the other cards to basically help you out, and also the tells you what cards you also need with different packs. So like Burst of Destiny right there is a pack that you'll probably use to get more cards for this. And yeah. I do, like I said before, a lot of these mats usually have the backsides that can tell you how to play, which is always good for new players and whatnot. Because these packs also do not come with the handbooks anymore, because Konami, I don't think, does them anymore, which is kind of sad. And then you have right here where the token cards, which we already see, it tells you the art story for the cards. And I am hoping somewhere in the future we will get ourselves what's called the branded anime for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I know Konami's going to definitely do Sky Strikers anime. Like, we already seen that. Sky Striker is basically Konami's bread and butter, because for those who do not know, Sky Striker has a manga that it can adapt an anime to. So we're definitely going to get Sky Strikers anime. So we'll just see in the future. But folks, with that out of the way, that right there is the unboxing of the structure deck for Albaz Strike. Pretty good structure deck. You got the good cards that you want. Overall, the pack tells you what you need to do. Overall, pretty great. I will say this for those who want to know about the structure deck. Usually, if you want to build every series, you go into Yu-Gi-Oh! And actually doing tournaments or locals and whatnot, and you want to use this, I usually recommend buy 2, maybe 3 of these, so you can get at least 3 copies of each. So sometimes you can use. So I would recommend looking up your what's called the ban list to see what cards are usable, what you need, and basically to look up before you go and invest in stuff. But not gonna lie, this structure is pretty good. Even if you just want to have the cards as is, I will still recommend it. Usually these structure packs go around $20. You can find them anywhere. No, we'll see anywhere. So anyway, it's been a while since I've seen these, but usually it should still go for $20. I don't know how it is now. But yeah, with that out of the way, folks, that is it for this review for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure Deck Albaz Strike. And if you liked the video, consider dropping a like, share, and subscribe. I always do appreciate it, folks. And as always, have a nice day. This is Pirate Arden, signing out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.